This is the quarantine zone. After an outbreak, VI zombie withdrawal happened. To prevent VI zombie withdrawal, mutations can occur in the body at any time. The survivors had to be vaccinated by F Corporation. Production, however, no one knows that. The type VI outbreak this time is different from the previous ones. It's a new variant that's evolved. With the current vaccine, there's no way to stop it. A man who had just finished his vaccine. The body shows abnormal signs. And then he fell on a reporter named Caster and vomit blood. This is the first sign of turning into a zombie, as the doctor prepares to examine the man's body. Then the next moment, he turned into a zombie and started attacking people around you. The patient is in bed in the hospital. It's also starting to show signs of mutation. Caster rushed to the doctor for help. But right now, doctors are also struggling to protect themselves. When the zombies are about to rush in, Caster had to use his hospital bed to stop them. The whole vaccination room was in chaos at the same time. In the crowd outside, there are also infected people who have mutated. When a photographer named Jordan are coming back to this scene, a completely transformed zombie rushed straight at her. Jordan quickly knocked it down with the camera. When I saw that scene, people panicked and ran to save their lives, but an uncle in a wheelchair is unlucky. Chased by a zombie and fall down on the spot. Right now, more and more people are getting the virus. Join the zombie army. Jordan rushed into the car and prepared to flee. But you didn't see Caster's colleague. When panicked calling out his name, a zombie suddenly rushed to attack her. Jordan tried his best to escape. Then she was forced to drive away. Before this, Caster just escaped from the inoculation ward. I saw Jordan driving away. Look around at the growing number of zombies. Caster suddenly fell into confusion, not knowing what to do. At that moment, a very beautiful woman appeared in your eyes. That girl killed the zombie with a single blow. See that? Caster immediately rushed to seek protection from that girl. But I almost got attacked by her. I was mistaken for a zombie. Christy throwing give Caster a plank. Then she jumped to the ground decisively. The surrounding area was occupied by zombies. Caster had no choice, in addition to dancing, but I accidentally fell and dropped my phone on the ground. When Caster bent down to pick up the phone, a zombie suddenly fell from the sky. I quickly smashed his head with a plank, then immediately ran towards Caster. Chris has just found a car. She saw a woman named Maggie. He was devastated after the death of his daughter. Caster was just in time. I saw the zombies approaching. Chris is forced to pull Maggie into the car with him. But when they got in the car, a zombie rushed in and stuck his hand in the back door. Caster used the car door to secure his arm. With the help of Maggie, you have successfully killed the zombie. Think back to what you just saw. Caster immediately realized that the F group's vaccine has failed 7 times. I hurried to call my boss and report the whole thing. When receiving the news, your superiors immediately announced, go outside. Meanwhile, Caster's talking to everyone about where to go next. To go without paying attention. 2. There's a zombie in front of you holding a traffic sign. By the time Maggie finds out, it's too late to escape. The car crashed right into it, leading to an accident. Maggie tries to restart the car, but the VA impact caused the vehicle to be severely damaged. Seeing a dangerous situation, Chris quickly opened the escape car door. But at that moment, a series of zombies surrounded her. She picked up a brick and knocked down a zombie, then took advantage of the opportunity to sneak into a nearby store. The other two got out of the car and were attacked by zombies. Lucky chase. They dodged and ran into the store, with the help of Frister. Fortunately, this store has all kinds of tools. It can be used. Christy opened a closet and found a gun. To get out of this place, they started building weapons to fight zombies. In another development, John drove out of the quarantine zone, followed by other survivors. A large number of zombies. Security forces immediately closed the quarantine zone, regardless of the survivors screaming for help. But they still didn't open the door. Jordan's going to go back to this. I received a call from Caster learned that Jordan had left the quarantine zone. Caster immediately questioned at SAU. She abandoned him again. Jordan is trying to explain. Suddenly, she heard a loud gunshot. Security forces are killing zombies and prevent any AI from getting close to the isolation wall. They even shot a survivor. After that person refuses to leave, despite being warned many times, the entire quarantine zone is completely sealed off to prevent the virus from leaking out. Some of the survivors were chased and bitten by zombies. Jordan is on the phone. They were also placed in isolation. She rushed to tell Caster. Immediately, Caster realized the seriousness of the situation. This also means that they're trapped inside the quarantine zone. I reported the incident to the TV station and asked your superiors to find a way to get you out, instead of helping your boss. I just want you to continue reporting live from the scene. Caster could only laugh bitterly now. You are nothing more than a tool, serving the interests of others. Jordan is currently undergoing a medical examination. If the test is positive for the virus, you will be immediately dealt with by one, a soft death. At night, Caster is sleeping. I was suddenly awakened by a strange sound. Follow the sound. I found out Christy was vaccinating herself. On her arm there was a very pronounced bite. She's actually infected with the virus. Be careful in case Caster squeezes the hammer in his hand. I dare not leave until you see Christy. Get the vaccine without turning into a zombie. Then he immediately gave Jordan the news. Because he suspects that the cause of this outbreak, it's not because the virus mutated, it's because there's a problem with vaccines. The next morning, Jordan was confirmed not to have the virus. No cardboard from his corporation. They let Jordan out of the quarantine zone. You immediately take this opportunity to tell Noton the whole thing. But Noton doesn't believe it, because you have no real evidence. At the same time, Caster learned from Christy that the vaccine you're using is not a mass-produced one. It's a different version, purchased directly from a source. But now, Creaser only has one last dose left. You have to find more before it runs out. And at that moment, there was a sudden news release on TV. Turns out it's a notification from the military due to the virus. The containment zone is out of control. Military, we will bomb the area within 48 hours. 3 people's time is running out and getting worse. Notorious gang driver in quarantine. Also just appeared, outside in the post-apocalyptic world. These guys are more ruthless than zombies. If they get caught, their fate may be worse than death. The leader of the gang is Logan. Walk into the store where they're hiding. I know he's a tough guy to deal with. 3 people are in a hurry to find a hiding place. Logan was about to leave. Then he saw the homemade weapons. In the store, he knew immediately that someone was hiding, and Start 6 controls. Grease had no choice. Apart from having to act first, she pointed the gun at Logan's head. Make him unable to do anything else. Master Bay. He was forced to abandon his weapon and leave, but he didn't know that Christie's gun. No bullets after leaving. Logan didn't say anything to his men about this, but from his hidden smile, can see he certainly has no intention of stopping here. Logan and the gang had just left the store when meet a group of survivors looking for protection. A man begged them for help. But unexpectedly, Logan demanded $10,000 each. When the man could not pay, Logan beat him up straight. A woman hiding nearby was also discovered. While trying to escape, she was unfortunately surrounded by zombies, but Logan and his men didn't care. Just leave her behind. The woman was quickly grabbed by the zombies and become their party. After the gang of drivers left, Christy modified Logan's weapon and set out to find a vaccine. However, Caster thinks they should go public about vaccines. The military may cancel the bombing plan. But Christy doesn't want to just wait. She picked up her weapon and left the store. Maggie also followed with homemade weapons in hand. See, they don't cooperate. Caster went to the warehouse himself to find a weapon, then follow them. Christy and Maggie were lucky to find a car. It works. It's full of zombies. To support them, Caster stepped out to attract the attention of the zombies. Then Lau, straight into the middle, their opening for a bloody massacre. In the meantime, Chrysler and Mandy take advantage of the opportunity to round out behind, but Caster was accidentally wrapped up in zombies. You can only use a baseball bat to keep fighting. However, the number of zombies is increasing. To be overwhelmed, Caster was forced to climb onto the roof of a bus. Appropriate time. I jumped into a car next door, and then we're in an alley. Close the iron gate to stop the zombies. Just breathed a sigh of relief. Caster accidentally caught the green eye of a clown zombie. At the same time, a police zombie is also approaching. Caster hurriedly picked up a potty hose and smashed into the police zombie. His gun fell to the ground. Just picked up the gun. Caster was immediately pressed against the wall by a police zombie. But lucky, you pulled the trigger and killed it just before it was bitten. However, as soon as the police zombie's body fell, the zombie clown swung an axe to slash. Caster quickly ducked to avoid the attack. Then he pointed the gun at its face. But when pulling the trigger, he just realized that the gun was out of bullets. Caster was immediately pinned to the ground by the clown zombie. At the same time, the zombies outside the iron gate were about to attack. Broke the door and rushed in at the right time of danger. Christy drove the car and rushed to save him in time. They quickly left before the zombies arrived. The top priority now is finding a vaccine. But after 6 checks everywhere, They found out that all the vaccines had been stolen. Luckily, Castor received news from Jordan that there is a vaccine warehouse nearby. So all three people went there immediately. But when we get there, they found that the entire warehouse had been cleared out. There's no other way. They have to split up. Maggie gets lost in a room and was attracted to a teddy bear lying on the floor. It forces you to go deeper inside and saw a door with blood. When you open the door, she is horrified to discover that the inside is full of zombies. That AI deliberately locked them up here, among the undead. Maggie was stunned to see a familiar figure. That's your daughter. You feel guilty for not protecting your child. Rising up in my heart, Maggie is unbearable. She gave up and hugged her daughter. Let yourself be bitten. Then gradually turn into zombies. Meanwhile, Castor and Christy finally find a batch of vaccine. Please, but it is not a vaccine that the Creaser is using. To prove that this vaccine has problems, Castor suggests that Creaser should cooperate with him to make a video. To prevent the army from bombing the quarantine area, it is the only way for them to survive. Christy hesitated for a moment, then agreed. As soon as her body began to show signs of mutation, Christy quickly get the newly found vaccine to inject. And of course it didn't work. But when she was about to get the vaccine that I often use, then it is too late. See the emergency. Castor rushed to help her get vaccinated. After injection, the mutation process immediately stopped, proving that the new vaccine of F Corporation, no effect. Make everyone vaccinated, but still transformed, and more importantly, this whole process was recorded on the phone. This is the most compelling evidence. But right then and there, a bunch of giant zombies suddenly appeared and rushed to attack. They both quickly ran out another door. I can't believe it's full of zombies. They were completely trapped. Christy quickly grabbed Castor's phone and upload video to the internet. The video immediately became a viral phenomenon. It's been bombarded by major news platforms. The company F is widely criticized, under public pressure. The army was forced to take over the quarantine zone from hand company F and start a new evacuation plan for the survivors. Meanwhile, Castor and I, it's still stuck inside the warehouse. They have lost hope of survival. But suddenly, the door opened. That's the gang. They cleaned out the zombies outside and found two people. But before Castor could say anything, you were knocked out by them. When I wake up, I found myself tied to a forklift. There's a lot of zombies coming. A zombie rushed to bite Castor. When Castor was struggling in despair, the zombie has been knocked out, but at the same time tearing down the gas pipeline. Another zombie, passing by a burning oil barrel, and accidentally carried the fire. Castor immediately panicked. Realize that your situation is becoming more and more dangerous. But in time of despair, I saw a zombie with a knife in his back. Immediately your head, Castor tried to lure that zombie closer to him. With one deft move, he pulled the knife out of its back and successfully cut the rope to escape. Right then, the zombie with the burning arm also rushed forward. Directly ignited the car to explode. The explosion not only wiped out the zombies, but also caused the knife to fly straight into a gang of bikers is watching. Kill him immediately. After escaping, Castor immediately called for Jordan. When I know I can leave quarantine. Castor did not run away immediately, but hurriedly took a motorbike, run straight to the warehouse to save Chrissa. Upon arrival, I saw the gang preparing to strike out against Chrissa. Logan recognized Castor and immediately rushed to stop him. I don't need to say a word. They both got into a fight. Even if you have a weapon in your hand, Castor's still no match for Logan. After just a few moves, he was easily defeated. On the other side, Chris was knocked to the ground by a motorcycle gang. But the leader hasn't been around for too long. The smile on his face immediately disappeared, because Christa was lucky enough to get the gun. Nearby, she fired a single shot and finished him off. Then Christy ran to save Castor. They're both riding their bikes towards the wall. The leader at the same time. Logan was stunned when the Major bit him in the neck. Outside the quarantine zone, Jordan has discovered a shocking secret. Based on the stock photos that Castor sent, Newton realized that their company has never produced this vaccine. When the survivors have just come out of the quarantine zone, tablet, the colonel immediately proposed using a virus suppressor chip. It was developed in collaboration with another company. Then out, it's all part of the military's dark agenda. The first is to replace the F Corporation vaccine with a new vaccine. It doesn't work, cause the virus to infect LAN, and then supply to the market a type of chip that inhibits VI withdrawal to profit. Jordan decided to bring this truth to light. You go back to a video and hide it in a locker at the entrance of the quarantine zone. But as soon as it's done, She was captured by a group of soldiers. Now Castor and the rest of them. We finally made it to the quarantine wall. But they are completely surprised when Logan, despite being bitten, continued to chase Theo. A giant zombie horde also followed closely behind him. Logan holds a shield in one hand and an axe in the other. There is also a time bomb attached to the axe. He intended to break through the wall to bring the zombie virus into the safe zone, share happiness and misfortune. The guards on the wall immediately opened fire. Kill the zombies. Creaser took the opportunity to grab two chainsaws and rush into the duel with Loga. Castor also quickly found weapons and joined the battle. However, after a few fights, they can't fight logic because he's turning into a zombie. The usual attacks. It didn't cause any damage. After beating both, Logan throws his bomb axe at the wall. The soldiers on the wall began to evacuate. In a moment of crisis, Castor quickly jumped up, grabbed the axe and threw it back at the legend. Chris saw that scene. Quickly find shelter. Just a second later, Logan exploded into pieces. They finally got out of the safe zone. The first thing Castor did after he got out, call for Jordan. In a nearby locker, he heard a sound. Your phone's ringing. Inside, it's the last 6 that Jordan came back to. Paragraph VI of this box. It's going to cause a nationwide shock. This time in the sky, there were 2 bombers flying by. Then out. The military continues to carry out its mission. What do you think about this movie?